Today I wanted to give you an update of H2O Wireless's plans and talk about their max download speed. Now, back on June 12th, I did a video on H2O Wireless plans, only to have to do a quick update because I found out they were going to change the plans and prices on July 1st. And back in June, H2O Wireless didn't know what the plans were going to be. Well, it looks like they have that information on h2owirelessnow.com, and you can check that out. But before looking at the plans, I wanted to point this out. You'll see this little footnote. It says download speeds max of 8 megabits per second LTE, 4 megabits per second 4G. So they've now put a maximum download speed on their service. If you're on the LTE network, you're going to get 8 megabits per second down as a maximum speed, or 4 megabits per second as a maximum speed if you're on the 4G network. Is this a big thing? Well, I think if you wanted all that speed and you had a legitimate use for it, then it could be an issue. But for a lot of people, I don't think they're going to notice the difference. So if you like the plans and you like the prices, H2O Wireless might be right for you. But I did want to point out that they now have this max download speed of 8 megabits per second. All right, now taking a look at the plans, you'll see here they have two 3 gigabyte plans, a 6 gigabyte plan, an 8 gigabyte plan, a 10 gigabyte plan. And the prices are $30, $35, $40, $50, and $60 respectively. Now, why are there two 3 gigabyte plans? It looks like this plan is actually a 2 gigabyte plan, and for some period of time, you're going to get an extra promotional 1 gig of data. And if we look at this footnote, it looks like that's from 7/1/2017 to 9/30/2017. After beginning of October, this plan will drop to 2 gigabytes of high-speed data. Now, another thing I wanted to point out here is if you look at the pricing, they show two prices. They show, I guess, the full price and then a discounted price. Nowhere in this table do they say why you would get this discount price. I'm going to assume it's if you sign up for their automatic payment program where you give them your credit card and they charge you for your plan every month. They really should add that information to this table. Now, another thing I'm not too crazy about here is if you read this fine print, it says 15% off for new signups only, reduced to 10% after first month. So they're showing you the discounted price for 1 month only. That's 15% off the full price. So after the first month, the price is going to go up. I guess this $30 plan would go to $27 or go up from $25.50 to $27. And all these plans would increase in prices. What do I think of these plans and the prices? Well, I actually think the first 3 plans are kind of interesting and are pretty competitively priced. Not really that crazy about the 8 and 10 gigabyte plans. I think if you shop around, you can find just as good or a better deal on a network that is not speed restricted, does not have a max download speed, and pay around the same amount of money. For example, this 8 gigabyte plan, which is $50 with a 10% discount, I'm assuming that's $45. So that would be equivalent to Straight Talk's $45 plan, and Straight Talk does not have a max download speed on their AT&T network. And then the $60 plan would drop to $54 with a 10% discount. With Straight Talk, I think for $55, you could get 12 gigabytes of high-speed data. So these two plans are not the most competitive, but to be able to get a plan with 3 gigabytes of data on the AT&T network for $31.50, that's not that bad a deal. Or to be able to get 2 gigabytes of data for $27, that's a pretty good price. And then the 6 gigabyte plan, that kind of falls in the middle. This would go to $36. So $36 for 6 gigabytes of data on the AT&T network. Not too bad of a deal. Now, the only other thing I wanted to point out or mention about this service is if you're using an iPhone, I don't think you're going to be able to get MMS, picture messages, or group texts working with this service. And the reason is because you cannot go in and set the APN manually. You'll have to install a carrier profile to set the APN, and those carrier profiles will not set the APN correctly for MMS. And that's what you need to do to be able to use MMS, picture messages, and group text messages. Now, if you're using an Android phone, you shouldn't have this issue. So definitely something you might want to check out if you're using an Android phone or an iPhone if you don't care about group text and picture messages. Now, before ending this, I wanted to point out or give some thanks out to you guys who pointed out some of this information. Let's see here. Mr. Joplin83 was the one that pointed out to me that they added the 8 megabit per second max download speed. So thanks to him. And then Bodyguard 856 actually pointed out a few weeks ago what the new plans were going to be. At the time, I couldn't find any confirmation of these plans, so I had been waiting to do these updates. And it looks like he even listed the prices in his comments, so $31.50, $36, $45, and $54. So big thanks out to Bodyguard 856 for sharing this information and Mr. Joplin 83. All right, guys. Hey, I think that's going to be it. I'll talk to you in the next video.